Good morning and welcome to Namaste Today, a soulful way to begin your day. I'm your heartfelt host and the Sensei to some serious joy, Christopher Witecki. This audio blogcast is for Thursday, June 15, 2017. Welcome back, my friend and earthly neighbor. Namaste. After 3 days of intellectual turbulence, I'm happy to report that today through tomorrow will be quite peaceful. In today's zodiac weather, I'll give you the outline of the planets and why I predict peace. Then later in our tea time, we've come to the point where the sun is opposing Saturn today. That means it's a galactic turning point. But first, let's take a look at today's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is for Thursday, June 15, 2017. And my forecast for the entire planet Gaia is sunny and super peaceful today. Step 24 kicks off the day, and the moon moves into cozy Pisces. Let's take a look at the planets. I must say the first 3 days of this week were a bit intense. A lot of static energy, a lot of electrical energy, grand trines, grand conclusions. And it's just frankly ironic that we come to step 24 and at this moment we also come to a galactic turning point. So we literally have made our way through the intellectual storm, so to speak. Congratulations, you made it. Step 24 rules most of the day, and step 24 is an embodiment of what we feel, step 2, and where we belong, step 4. So where we feel we belong. And I'm guessing that you came to some sort of a conclusion in the last 36 hours about where you belong or where you belong next. And I'm also guessing that if you're clear on where you belong, your mind can finally come to peace, step 6. Peace, in other words, your ability to open up, your ability to think freely, your mind opens up, and really the sky is the limit once you have found where you personally feel you belong. And I am looking at the planets and guesstimating that most of you have gotten to that conclusion because a lot of what today is really spiritual reflection. We have sevens everywhere. Mars today is at step 7 Cancer, which means we're pushing to feel our psychic awareness and feel our intuition. That Mars is trining into the moon in Pisces, which is the sign of 7. And so our emotions are also getting really deep about our soul story. Mercury's at step 17, which means our mind is half logic, half intuitive today. And the part of fortune, which I don't speak to very often, is at step 7 Gemini as well, which means God has a little present for us once we log into our higher self. So I'm predicting today to kind of feel like we just ran some sort of a marathon, and now we're basically panting and sitting down after this long race. And in this sitting down, we are reflecting. We're reflecting on our life, how far it's come, and where we feel it might be going. This is definitely one of those kind of cliche summer days where the temperature is perfect, you're staring up at the clouds, and you're drifting in and out of consciousness. That appears to be what the universe is calling to happen. And in this reflection, we're having a grand reflection about our life because today the sun is opposing Saturn directly at step 24. Saturn is at step 24 retrograde in Sagittarius, and the sun is at step 24 in Gemini. Now, in personal skills or in personal story, this means that your mind has come to a point where you're ready to maybe change your direction in a certain area of your life. The sun is opposing Saturn, which means it has come a full 180 degrees or 6 months since the sun crossed Saturn, and we had a call of action to step up and change our lives, to change our story, to change our direction. Here we are 6 months later, and we're at this point of reflection, and the reflection is, how far have we come? Are we on the right path anyways? And what I like to say, is this the story we were born to live? And that, my friend, is the topic of our tea time today, so go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our Thursday tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. Today's tea time topic is Galactic Turning Point. The sun is opposing the planet Saturn today, and I have to say that whenever the sun does oppose Saturn, this is a turning point, no matter what sign Saturn happens to be in. But because Saturn is in the sign of Sagittarius, this is what I call a galactic turning point. By galactic, I'm referring to the idea of the story you were born to live. You see, the galactic center is at step 27, Sagittarius. And so as Saturn has come into the sign of Sagittarius, Saturn has come into having us become responsible, Saturn, for the story we were born to live. And I believe that comes out of wherever the galactic center comes from. I believe all of our collective consciousness sort of comes from the galactic center energy. And in this consciousness, you have a place in space and time. You have a fate. You have a role. I do believe you have a destiny. I also believe in free will. So we can absolutely sabotage our destiny and we can absolutely get off course. And one of these moments, like Sun opposing Saturn, is good for is that it allows us to calibrate, are we on course or are we not on course for the story we were born to live? In other words, are we doing in our heart and on the path in our heart that our soul wanted to experience here on earth? That's the story you were born to live, the one that your heart wishes you could right now. So we really kicked off this story, I think, about 6 months ago when the sun went into Sagittarius, and Saturn had already been in Sagittarius for quite a while at that point, but it had cleared away all of the dogma and the karma and the limited belief structure, and so we were left to truly face the story we were born to live. And I believe Act 1 of this story was basically from last Sagittarius, so right around Thanksgiving here in America, from that point until this point right now. This is officially the end of Act 1. Whatever you have lived in the last 6 months was the beginning of the story you were born to live. And you might say, well, it hasn't been much. Well, no offense, I think that's how most stories start. Okay, like we always start with the hero, and unless it's an action sequence, that might come through. But we always start with the hero, kind of in some sort of a rut or sort of a situation, and they, of course, their heart, their quest is to come out of that situation, and that's why one of the reasons why it's important to be stronger than we've ever been at this point. We're ready to champion our story. But in the last 6 months, you can kind of look at what has happened in your life, what changes have been made. Those were all necessary to get you on the point of today. From today forward, the choices you make after you have lived the last 6 months and learned the last 6 months, these choices are really your opportunity to turn away from your karmic patterns and move into a new story for your soul, which I believe is the story we were born to live. Or in some cases, people will choose to repeat this karmic cycle and go once more around the track. And you may ask, well, how long is that track? Excellent question. Saturn actually has an orbit of about 29.5 years, which means the last time Saturn was calling us to our galactic center, calling us to our soul's purpose, was actually 1988. That's when Saturn was at these high degrees the last time. And so if you can recall in your own personal story where you were in the year of 1988 and how your life changed at that point, you might see that the universe and the circumstance of your life was setting you up for this moment. Now, for me, that is 100% true because in January 1988, I actually relocated to a high school in Barnstable, Massachusetts. That high school had its own cable TV station. And as a freshman in high school, I actually got on camera and was broadcasting to my fellow high school students. I don't think they ever watched, okay? But looking back, that's exactly what I do now. It actually put me on the path for who I am now. And I loved it. I got involved for the full 2 years that I was there, shot all sorts of little TV shows and whatnot. And so later, when the internet became video friendly, I felt very confident and experienced to come up and say I'm a sensei and come on camera and direct. So Indeed, the last time Saturn was on the galactic center, something fated happened in my life where I was introduced to something important. Now, it kind of depends on your age. Obviously, I was in high school. I wasn't ready to fully live the story I was born to live at that point. At that point, the universe was setting me up for that story. And in the course between then and now, I certainly got off the path of broadcasting and got back on the path when I realized that was my calling. So, as I say today, we are at a galactic turning point. Whatever you do now is either toward what the universe is trying to guide you to or away from what the universe is trying to guide you to. And if you, quote, mess it up, don't worry, we'll be back at this degree in 29 years. Now, today's turning point, I think, really hits us on two levels. On the one level is what I call the A story. The A story is the story of who you are. The story of who you are is your sun sign in classic astrology. So I believe everyone's sun sign, or their heart, is going to be making some sort of choice in the next 24 hours about where they want their day-to-day life story to go. So we probably all come to a turning point in our day-to-day life. And this probably began 6 months ago, right around Thanksgiving here in the United States. So in your A story, you're probably coming to a day-to-day life turning point. You've learned in the last 6 months, and you're probably going to change some of the ingredients of your life as a result. But because this is such a powerful galactic turning point, I also believe, and probably more powerfully, that we're at a turning point in our B story. Our B story is the story of who we want to become. And that is based on our ascendant or our rising sign in classic astrology. And today, I think more than ever, we're probably making a very powerful decision in our rising sign or B story than we are in our day-to-day mundane part of our life. So it may seem like you're only making small little choices in your day-to-day life, but try to pull back and look at the big picture. What do these little choices mean in the terms of your life? What brings your life meaning? And are they in context with what you believe about life? I think many people might make changes in what they believe. In other words, this turning point may not be a change of thinking. We just spent 24 days cleaning out our thinking. This change may be a change in our philosophy, a change in our learning curve, a change in our learning direction, a change in our travel direction. We may decide to change the story in the next 24, 36 hours because we're not happy with where it's going. And I would say that that decision to change your story is the beginning of Act 2 in the story we were born to live. So today, for my beloved subscribers of Serious Joy, in your daily pep talk at 8:33 a.m., I go into a little detail there in writing on our online app about where your story is in your B story. What does this opposition of the Sun opposing Saturn mean for you? Where is your mind? Where is your heart? And where to play the story? So be sure to check out your pep talk today. And for everyone else, I want to say I am so grateful to serve you. If you would like some extra hand-holding in this cosmic moment, try out my personal Sensei service. It's just $3.99 for the first month. You can cancel anytime. For details, come to SeriousJoy.com. All right, friends, that's all I have for today. Good luck in your galactic turn. I can't wait to read about it. Until tomorrow, remember I love you, and to live, love, be.
Live, love, be.